Hey guys, the Horror Appraisal here. We have a very special edition for you today, but first I'm Sam.
And I'm Evan.
And we decided it would be really cool to kind of do a top 5 list thing because we can just rapid fire like some good movies at you.
Absolutely. And what we've decided to do is we've decided to start with a great decade of movie making. As you probably noticed that from a lot of our reviews. We're going to start with the 1980s, and starting with the year 1980, we're going to do the top 5 horror films from 1980.
Yeah, and we'll be doing this for every year as we go, and if the 80s decade kind of catches on and people enjoy it, we might go back to the 70s.
Yeah.
1970s a real bitch, but 1980 was actually kind of hard, but we went ahead and did it. There are some great movies from that, but it just so happens that there are like only 5 or 6 really worthy movies.
Yeah, 1980 had some kind of obvious choices that you guys will see in our list, and maybe a couple that'll surprise you.
We are going to start with an honorable mention that has changed the face of horror history. It's a little iffy for us to It was a little iffy for us to actually put this in there because of what it is, but he's going to tell us about it.
Honorable mention is going to be the film Cannibal Holocaust. And really what makes the film, what Sam and I were talking about, kind of what makes it an honorable mention is it's really it may be the first, but at least among the first of the found footage films. Basically, it's about an expedition or their students or something. They go into, I think it's the Amazon jungle, and just horrible things happen to these people.
Yeah, they get eaten, but you know what? They actually kind of deserve it. But
yeah,
the one thing that kept it out of the top 5 was the animal cruelty. If you are going to be affected by that severely, then maybe don't watch it.
Yeah.
This one sticks with you and it kind of changes you a little bit. So.
Yeah, that poor turtle.
But it is so violent, and for you guys out there that want to see something really, really terrible, really violent and disturbing, give it a try.
Some of them live for 150 years. Okay.
All right, what's at number 5?
Yep. Number 5 is a great film by
Dario Argento gave us this.
One of our favorite directors. It is Inferno. Tell us a little about Inferno, Sam.
The biggest thing about Inferno that I could tell any of you horror heads out there is the music is epic in this one.
Mm-hmm. It's the second in Dario's Mother trilogy.
Yeah, Three Mothers.
Three Mothers films.
If you're unfamiliar with that, start with Suspiria. Check it out from 1977.
Yeah, Suspiria was the first film. Second film was Inferno. Not much to say about this movie other than, it did make our list. It's noted for some things. Music, like you said.
Great kills.
When the kills happen, it's very violent.
There's some animal cruelty in this one too, but it's a little bit more justified than in.
Well, it's cat eating a mouse, right?
The guy kills some cats.
Well, but that's not real.
It's not real. It's not really happening.
But I'll tell you, speaking of cats, there's a scene that sticks out in my mind for this film, and it's the scene where the chick is like around and like all of a sudden all these cats attack her. You can tell that there's just
there must
people.
Have been 15 staff members. Like,
you can tell that there are
cats.
just people chucking cats at her, man. Because like they're getting like stuck in her hair and like they're going crazy. I mean,
she had to have gotten hurt.
It could not have been very pleasant to film.
But I mean, there's definitely some great deaths in this. A woman gets her throat slit with a window, and
yeah. I tell you, really the payoff for me for this film,
lighting.
Lighting. Dario lighting is always awesome, but especially the end of the film where the Mother of Shadows is revealed, and she kind of shows her power a little bit to the guy, and to me, it's kind of an effective scene. I really like it, so you guys got to check it out.
It's a solid number 5 for us.
Yeah.
So what do we have at number 4?
Number 4, got to make it on a list for 1980. It is the adaptation from book to film of The Shining, written by Stephen King and directed by Stanley Kubrick. The brilliant performance of Jack Nicholson in this film, of course, steals the show.
He is kind of motivation for a lot of actors because of this performance, I think.
Absolutely. Everybody kind of knows the overview, the overview of the Overlook, the kind of synopsis of the film. Basically, a guy with his family become caretakers of this grand hotel called the Overlook for the winter in Colorado. So they're shut in for quite a long time, and basically spooky stuff starts to happen.
He gets kind of possessed in a way, kind of manipulated by spirits and.
And well, you know, the thing is with the Stanley Kubrick film as opposed to the book, the film in a lot of ways feels like a psychological thriller in some ways, more I think so than the book. However, it still has, you know, like the ghost scenes, like the scene with Jack Nicholson and Lloyd the bartender, and then with Grady in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So, oh man, those are just awesome scenes because you know you're.
Blu-ray did justice to this film.
Absolutely.
It really changed my opinion of it. The sound mix really brings out the score, which is an amazing score.
You can really see the Shelley Duvall tear on the Blu-ray transfer.
I think she's a beautiful lady, honestly. I know that there's some criticism of that in this film, but she's beautiful, I think.
But The Shining, that's got to be on your list for 1980. Take it away from number 3, Sam.
Number 3 is, you may give us a little flack for putting this at 3, because a lot of people have this at their number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Yeah, the first part directed by Sean S. Cunningham.
Yeah.
Starring Adrian King, who we got to meet both of those people at the latest.
Epically awesome.
Yeah.
Epic awesomeness.
We got to meet them at the at Scarefest last year in Lexington, Kentucky. So shout out again to Scarefest.
We met Victor Miller, who wrote the original, and he actually stated that the first Friday the 13th wasn't supposed to be a series. It was just supposed to be a one-off.
That's the cool thing about the first Friday the 13th film, and even if it's not your favorite. And I get the allure of Jason, you know, the masked killer and everything, because, I mean, that puts butts in seats and everything. But if you think of the first Friday the 13th film by itself, just as a slasher, the
most devoted mother in history.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really kind of scary. A mother's love is a powerful and scary thing, I think.
I wouldn't say the most devoted in history, I mean, but she definitely goes to great lengths.
She's devoted. Yeah, she's devoted to revenge. That's what I was going to say. But, you know, of course, memorable effects by Tom Savini.
Tom Savini had just an epic career in 1980 alone. I mean, he did Friday the 13th, FX. Yeah. He did our next film. I'm giving it away. There you go. Sorry about that.
Right. Anyway, number 3, solid Friday the 13th. Number 2.
I just told you what number 2 is. If you have half a brain, if you have never seen this film, go out right now and do it.
Yeah, that's right. It's Maniac.
John McComas, our buddy, loves this film. He can quote this film. Little story I'm going to tell you. When we picked up this film, I was at Borders, and I took it home with me. Neither of us had seen it, but I really wanted to, because the artwork, you got to admit, the artwork is fucking epic.
Yeah.
You got a guy holding a scalp on the front.
I warned you not to go out tonight.
I popped it in at home. I stuck it in the player, and I started watching it. And the first scene happens, and Joe Spinell, all sweaty and disturbed and deranged, scalps this hooker. I stopped it immediately, and I said, you know, this is one of those things that we got to watch and experience as two people. So it was like...
Yeah, as horror fans, yeah.
It is devastating and very good.
It's certainly a look...
frightening.
It is. It's certainly... this film was recently remade. I didn't care for the remake, but it's a great delve into, I think, the psyche of. Honestly, he's almost the character played by Joe Spinell. I think is almost a little pitiable. He's a lonely guy.
After what
he's got mother issues.
What his mom did to him.
He's got mother issues, yeah.
But there is just some really. Tom Savini has this very special scene in this film, and if you haven't seen it, we usually spoil things. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You need to see what happens to Tom Savini in this film.
Yeah.
You have to see it.
It's explosive.
It is explosive, and if you like his effects in Dawn of the Dead, you'll love this one.
Absolutely.
But it is... Maniac definitely takes... I'm sorry, Friday the 13th fans, but Maniac definitely takes the reign as top slasher in 1980.
As far as... I agree, because as far as like having the impact... I would have to say that Maniac is a much more impactful slasher than Friday the 13th.
It sticks
Friday
with
the
you.
13th sets the bar. I mean, Friday the 13th is a great classic film.
it opened the bar for a lot of story. I mean, it's like, okay, this Jason character is amazing, but the Maniac movie with the Joe Spinell character, it kind of stops with him. I mean, you know, it's like kind of a one-off movie. A sequel would have been okay, but I think that having it as just a one-off movie makes it really special.
I agree. And numero uno, number one.
Well, we just told you that numero uno is not a slasher. Any guessers? Kind of give you a second. Ding, 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 ding. No guess?
Okay. It's a ghost film. It is absolutely a fantastic ghost film directed by John Carpenter. That's right. We're talking about The Fog.
The thing that sticks with me about The Fog is the cinematography.
Absolutely.
You cannot beat the cinematography for this movie. The epic creation of this film. Putting the fog to life. I mean, if you mess up a scene, you got to clear all that crap out.
And you know, I don't mean to sound like a broken record all the time, but guys, get this movie on Blu-ray. The transfer is great.
Scream Factory did this one.
Yeah, Scream Factory did The Fog as well. The film transfer is so good to Blu-ray. It's a beautiful film, really, like where they shot it and everything. Especially, you know, those lighthouse shots.
Northern California.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
And it's scary.
But, you know, it's got so many great people in it. It's got Adrienne Barbeau in it, Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Janet Leigh.
And here's another thing. We've met a lot of people from this film, and that really... You know, we met Adrienne Barbeau and Tom Atkins and Charles Cyphers.
Yeah.
And Nancy Loomis.
And Nancy Loomis is in it, absolutely.
Meeting those people really shows that, you know, when you meet a lot of people that are really nice in person, you think, it makes me like the movie a lot more because it just shows that they're kind of genuine. The thing about this film, it's tied for me with the Halloween soundtrack. John Carpenter's soundtrack for The Fog is so effective at really fitting with what happens on screen. And I think if you watch this film, it's just so artful.
Overall creepiness of this film, like, I just love, because, you know, first when you see the spirits, you know, the effects, some might argue, are a little bit outdated, but to me they're just very impactful. Like, I would rather have the spirits in 1980s The Fog than any of the CG crap they have these days. When they try to produce ghosts.
When they remade this thing, they just butchered it, and it was bad.
It was bad. It was pretty bad.
Do not ever watch the remake of The Fog.
If you want to see just and that's the thing, horror movies, sometimes really good ghost stories just don't get made, and they're few and far between. This, to me, is probably it's in my definitely top 3 ghost movies of all time. Probably is number 1 of my top ghost movies. But like I said, for overall effect, performance by all the actors. By the way, shout out to Hal Holbrook. He's also in this film. He's the priest. I'm trying not to forget anybody. It's just such a great movie with such great actors.
It's got that guy that's always a bum and stuff. He's in The Wishmaster. I hope you float down the gutter so I can piss on you.
Is he in it?
Yeah, he's the boat captain.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's Tom Atkins' friend.
That guy like talks the same in everything.
But I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis takes a little bit of a backseat to this film, and that says something about the story. She takes a backseat to the story. They did not play off of her success with Halloween. And I think it's really cool that she's just a character in this. That everybody in this is just a character. It's all about this town.
It's all about it's a revenge story that's all about just surviving it for the night, really.
Yeah. We had thought about what to do about this, but we are going to right now say a list of some other movies that you should check out. They're not in the top 5, but they are what 1980 has to offer. So I'll say one and he'll say one.
Sure, sounds good.
First, Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead. Great zombie film.
Yeah, absolutely. Macabre. That's a pretty cool movie in case you haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, but it was pretty interesting little horror film. Check it out.
Anthropophagus or Anthropophagus. There's a really violent scene in that. If you guys are gore hounds. Yeah,
that's definitely a movie for the gore hounds. Eaten Alive, another cannibal movie from the same year. Umberto Lenzi directing, absolutely.
Tom Savini again with effects. This movie is a little slow at times, but it's definitely worth a watch.
Another one, House on the Edge of the Park.
Directed by Ruggero Deodato, the same guy that did
Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah, the first
David
film
Hess is in this, and it's a really...
David Hess, you guys might remember.
It's an intense movie.
David Hess was the bad guy from the original Last House on the Left, directed by Wes Craven.
Night of Death. It's a cannibal movie, another cannibal movie, but it's not the typical Amazon type thing. It's a really good story about these old people that kind of lure nursing staff in and cook them.
Nightmare City, another zombie movie, kind of a wild little zombie movie. I think it sometimes gets lost in just all the zombie movies that were coming out.
Massive amounts of Italian zombies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Prom Night, another Jamie Lee Curtis film that kind of, the early DVD releases of this were really bad, but
yeah,
it's honestly pretty good.
I have the original DVD release of it, and I remember getting it and watching it with you, and like we couldn't even tell what the hell was going on because like everything was just so black. They recently, well, not recently, maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, they did another DVD of it, which he got, and like we just compared them, and
it's night and day.
It was like, holy crap, you can tell what's going on in this one.
All right, so to recap our list, start with honorable mention, Cannibal Holocaust.
Number 5, Dario Argento's Inferno.
Number 4 is The Shining.
Number 3, Friday the 13th.
Number 2, Maniac.
And number 1, one of the greatest ghost movies of all time, directed by genius John Carpenter, The Fog.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Evan.
You all should check these fucking things out.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time.